Hello guys, wanted to introduce all of you to my student Louie here. I came all the way to London to meet this guy. He's been seeing really significant results. Louie, introduce yourself.
My name's Louie. I've been in the high ticket sales space for around two and a half years now. Recently moved out to London. I say recently, but it's been a year and a half now. And now I'm here.
Sure, it's a pleasure meeting you. It's definitely a pleasure meeting you, man, in person also. Well, just to kick things off, Louie, like before working with me, like what did your journey look like? Where were you?
So when I got into sales like 2.5 years ago, I didn't really take it seriously. As with everyone, you try drop shipping, you try starting your own agency, learning from people like Iman. And then I wasn't confident in like the results that I could get for the people for my agency. So I was looking for something else to give me that freedom. And that's when I came across sales, which it was like running an agency, but you didn't have to do any of the marketing, any of the fulfillment or anything. And that's how I got into sales. Mm-hmm. And it was also one of the most transferable skills that you can learn. So that's how I got into sales. And the first job I had, it was for like a year. And it was good, it was chill. I was still living in Australia back then, so I didn't really have like many commitments, many bills to pay. So I didn't really take sales as seriously. It wasn't until I moved to London where I really took sales seriously and I put all my effort into it because London is crazy expensive and I needed a way to pay the bills because this was my first time properly living outside of home. And during that, you could say the 1 year period, the year and a half period where I was living in London, I was just offer hopping, not really like seeing any success and just still kind of like struggling, really just only making like 2 to 3K a month, which in London is really nothing. You cannot really survive off 2 to 3K, especially when rent takes up half of that instantly. So during that time, I've kind of always just been like floating my head above water, just like trying to survive. But it wasn't until I really started working with Dom, like really like one-on-one, like 3 months ago, where he placed me on his offer. And the first month I made $8,553. Then the second month I hit my first 10K month, and that was just over 10K, I think like 10,400 and some change. And last month in February, I hit my highest month, which was 11,223. So just in that 3 month time, I went from like struggling, down bad, asking my parents for money to like now having more money than I know what to do with. So a lot has changed in the past 3 months.
Okay. Louie, what would you say was the biggest bottleneck for you? Like the biggest thing actually holding you back from making transition into, hitting those 8K, 10K months sooner?
Definitely the offer. I feel like offer plays a really big part. You could be the best closer in the world on a shitty offer and you're not going to be making money. Well, if you're even a mid-level closer on an offer that sells itself, you're going to be printing money. And as I said, I was on bullshit offers before, everything from cold calling to closing, but like the offers weren't really that good. I'm not really making like revenue. So offer was like the big part. And then I would say the other thing is just having real conversations with people and just understanding that sales is just a conversation that you're having with someone and helping them come to the best decision possible for their situation.
Okay. And what did you kind of change in your process, offer side? Because an offer is an offer, an offer can come from personal branding, from networking, from being placed directly from someone like me, for example. But what about your process working with me changed specifically that allowed you to have these conversations, have these like authentic, real conversations that people actually sell them?
I would say the biggest thing is just not having an agenda in mind and just not having to rely off a script. Look, don't get me wrong, a script is good if you're just starting out. Having a framework in mind so you know exactly what to say, what questions to ask. Because if you take Joe Schmo from down the street and you put him on a Zoom call for a $10,000 product, he's not going to know what to say. So at the start, having some sort of framework to follow is good. But then not having to rely on that framework at some point and just having a real authentic conversation with someone and being like, okay, cool. rather than going question, having the adaptability to be like, okay, cool, this person said this, what did he mean by this? And then reading up on like the micro subtle cues that people are saying. Like, let's say you're talking about something deep and they take a deep sigh in and like, yeah. And then you bringing it up like, hey, like, I noticed you sighed right there, like what's happening? And then they really open up, and because you picked up on it, rather than just jumping to the next question, it has more of like that human to human conversation than just reading off a script and just steamrolling them with questions.
Yeah. So when you came in to learn scriptless from me, like were you skeptical at first, or did you always know that okay, like I want to learn scriptless selling, that's the most like authentic way to sell?
It was 50-50. Like, one thing that I got told early in my sales career is like, if you look at an actor, they follow a script, right? Leonardo DiCaprio, Margot Robbie, whoever, the top people in the space, they all follow a script. And so I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I should do that in sales because that's what's going to get the best results. Like, a movie is scripted at the end of the day, therefore I should do that. And so I came in with that mindset. But then over time, as sales has improved and gone a lot bigger, and like everyone and their dog has been on a sales call nowadays, it's hard because everyone knows what questions that you're going to ask. And how you really separate yourself from 90% of people is by doing what 90% of people won't do, which is what scriptless selling is not having a scripted agenda to follow and just having a real authentic conversation with someone. Because another big thing is that you speak to a random person on the street and they say, oh, sales is sleazy, sales is a scam, because they're trying to pressure you into something, is because the salesperson has an agenda in mind when they jump onto the call. While with scriptless selling, it's being able to like detach from that and have a real conversation with someone and not have anything agenda in mind. And if they join, they join. And if they don't, you tried your best.
Yeah.
Some people at the end of the day, you can't help. And it's just being super detached.
Exactly. Yeah, and as we placed you onto one of my management offers really quickly, like legit, we started working like first week you were on my management offer. We started like dialing in the whole scriptless selling process, internal mastery, and really seeing those results. So I'm just curious, like, how did it actually feel for you? You know, going from these 2 to 3K months, offer hopping constantly, not finding your place where you can actually stay and settle and focus on, to now actually like, oh shit, like first month I hit 8.5K, then it's like 10K, then it's like 11K. So how did that feel after these past months where you were struggling?
Obviously, I was a bit skeptical at first because everyone promises you the world. Everyone says, oh, I'm going to place you on a 10 out of 10 offer, X, Y, and Z. Everyone says that nowadays. And that's what these people, when they hire you, they also say the same thing. Oh, my offer's the best. We have unlimited lead flow. You're going to make $20 million overnight. And then you jump on, no calls booked and stuff. So, of course, I've been burnt a million different times from different offers. So I was a bit hesitant. I was a bit skeptical in that sense. But after like the first week making, let's say 1.5K in the first week, I'm like, okay, cool. Like, this is not some bullshit offer. Like, this is actually legit. And then just like ramping up and scaling from there. And it's like, okay, cool. Now I'm making like, I made 8K my first month, or 8.5, then going to 10.4, then 11.2. It's like, okay, cool. Like, the momentum's there. And to me, it's like upwards momentum is like the biggest thing, because at least for me, it was bleeding into all areas of life. Having money in my bank account that wasn't going directly into my rent is like, okay, cool. Now I have more abundance. Now I'm much more detached on a sales call. It's not like, I need this person to close, I need to pay rent. And so that's really what's changed a lot. Just having more abundance in my life in all areas.
Okay, understood. A lot of people in this space, they don't really talk about internal mastery. And as you do know, like, internal mastery is really something that I preach and really something that I teach. And as I remember, like, you were also a bit of a skeptic when it came to internal mastery and, you know, like mastering yourself. So how did you like learning internal mastery, and how is it, like, has it actually helped you?
It's a good question. Obviously, like, you hear stuff on the internet, law of manifestation, law of attraction, manifestation, that type of thing. And you think it's like a bit like woo-woo of like, oh, I'm just gonna imagine myself, dream myself to 10K a month, whatever that may be. But when you really break it down like step by step, okay, like what is internal mastery, blah, 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 blah. And then you really dive deep into what you're looking to accomplish in life and like what's actually holding you back. It just gives you like crystal clear clarity, and that clarity just gives you, once again, so much momentum on the sales call. And because it's like, let's say your goal is 10K a month. How do you actually achieve 10K a month? You like reverse engineer it, that type of thing. And you know, okay, cool. I only need to make, I think 10K a month is like $300 a day.
Yeah.
And then if you have the lead flow, depending on the ticket price, it's like one close a day. And you're like, oh, okay, that's not bad. But everyone puts 10K a month on a pedestal. And to go back to your original question of like internal mastery, yeah, a lot of the stuff is like woo-woo, but it definitely bleeds out onto who you are off a sales call is who you are on a sales call. How do you expect to get someone to pay $5, $10, $15, $20,000 for a mentorship if you've never done it yourself? How do you expect them to overcome their limiting beliefs and their fears if you've never done it yourself? So sales is all about self-actualizing and becoming the highest level of yourself so that you can help more people.
Exactly. And when, as mentioned, like place you on an offer, people selling, internal mastery, really just helping you grow income-wise, and even as a person, you don't have to put up a persona for the camera. I truly want you to be transparent about how was the training with me specifically, and how well did I, quote unquote, take care of you.
Yeah.
Working together.
The good thing about you is that a lot of these programs, you join and you have the head honcho, and then underneath him you have a bunch of coaches, and you're like, okay, this is not really what I signed up for. Like, I bought into Dom's story. I want to work directly with Dom, but then you join the program and it's like, oh, you're working with Joe Schmo from down the street who has no experience in sales, or they might have experience in sales, but it's not Dom. And so working with you, you were working directly one-on-one with me. We were jumping on multiple times a week or whatnot. I was asking you questions, and just like the feedback loop was a lot quicker, and it was just more of a trusted source rather than, as I said, Joe Schmo from down the street. So that was really good compared to other programs that I've seen online, I've heard of, that type of thing.
Okay. Nonetheless, you were in this tight financial situation. What really made you decide that, okay, like, I want to invest into Dom, I'm just going to take this risk, and I'm going to put like almost all of my savings into actually working it out?
It goes back to what I was talking about before. How can you expect someone to go down to their last dollar if you've never done it yourself? And so it's like the congruency thing. That was like the biggest part. How you show up is how your prospects show up. And so if you invest your last dollar into something, your prospects are going to invest their last dollar into something. Not all of them, of course.
Yeah.
I don't want to put them in a bad financial position, but I just knew if I wanted to take it to the next level, I needed to invest, and Dom was the person I wanted to invest in.
Yeah. Okay. I'm curious, so what does your life actually look like right now to compare it to how it was back then?
Yeah, like as I said before, a couple months ago, I was just like drowning, not in debt, but like having to pay rent, having to pay bills, just not knowing if I'm going to be able to, having to ask my parents for money. And now I just have the freedom to really do whatever I want, whenever I want, in some degree. Like, I know 10K is not like the be all end all. I'm not some crazy millionaire now, but it just gives you a lot more freedom and the abundance to do whatever. Like, for example, if you had asked me, my dad has a wedding in Australia, which I'm from originally, in like 2 weeks, and I'm able to do that. I'm able to go back to Australia from London, where most people wouldn't be able to, because now I've made 20K in the past 3 months, or whatever it is, 20, 30K in the past 3 months. So I have that abundance of like, okay, cool, I can go there, I can still work while I'm there, enjoy my time, and have that freedom to freedom of choices, you could say. If I want to go to Australia, I can. If I don't, then I don't need to. And in a couple months, I'm going to be traveling all over Europe, because why not? Because in sales, you're able to work remotely from wherever, whenever. And so why not just go travel all over Europe for a couple months?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's really, really phenomenal knowing that, you know, from you just barely scrapping by with rent, now you're able to not only provide for yourself to have those trips, to have that freedom, but also for the people that you love. So before we end it off here, Because, you know, there might be a person watching right now who is just really hesitant, right? But maybe never invested into anything in their life. Maybe they deep down they know that they need sales coaching. They know that they want to learn scriptless selling, internal mastery. They want to not only grow as a sales rep, but they want to grow as an individual too. And there's just like something holding them back, something internally holding them back. And you were in the same situation. So what would you want to say to that kind of person watching right now?
If you think if you think this is a scam, you're right. It's a scam. He swindled me. He took all my money, gave me nothing. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, it's being held hostage here.
Yeah, I've got a gun.
There's a gun over there.
Yeah, if the camera turns that way, you'll see a sniper pointed. There's two types of people, and I can say this because I've been on both sides of a coin. There's those who let that fear, let that hesitation hold them back from making a change in their life, and not only impacting themselves, but also those around them for their whole life. And then they wake up at 80 years old on their deathbed and they think, maybe life could have been different if I took a chance. Then there's those who they act despite being scared or hesitant, and they make it work. They figure it out, because that's what all successful people do. They figure it out as time goes. They don't let that fear of hesitation, the fear of being scammed or being burnt before, hold them back from achieving their dream life. And it's just really, which camp do you want to fall under? Do you want to be like those who are a bit hesitant, they think it's a scam and never take action? Or those who aren't as confident, or they act despite of that? Because that's what courage is, acting despite fear. And so do you want to be someone who is scared and doesn't take action, or someone who acts despite being scared, hesitant, and try to figure it out? So that's really what I would say.
Love to hear it. I love to hear it. Well, nonetheless, once again, just to wrap it up, really, really happy to be working with this guy. We're pacing like a 15K this month. We'll see. We'll easily manage to hit that, and I'm really, really excited for the growth in the near and even in the long future. And if you, the person watching this, if you want to see if the same principles can be applied in your process, and if you want to have the same transformation, and even better, as Louie did, make sure to click the link below in the description, go to the Remote Sales Pathway community website, apply, and I'll see you on the other side.